Well, I'm Robert Shaw. I was born and raised in at Ocala, Florida, Summerfield, Florida, right south of Ocala. And I was here in CC's in 1937 and 38.
Okay.
Last of 37, 38.
And you live? Where do you live now?
I live in Ocala.
Ocala. Okay. What was your situation back in the time that you went into the CCC and your families during the Great Depression? Just prior before you went into the CC, how was its situation?
It was tough. You worked for daylight or dark for 50 cents a day. And that was on a farm, whatever you could find to do. And our family was a pretty good sized family. In other words, it was 2 boys and 3 girls, and my mother and father. And we had our own chickens and pigs, and had 1 cow, and we had a garden every year, you know, and raised a lot of our own food, you might say. And there was people that wasn't able to do that we helped a lot. And then whenever I got into the CCs, why...
How did you get involved? How did you first get involved with the CCCs?
I beg pardon?
When did you first hear about the CCs?
Well, I heard about it before I got into it, a long time, you know, but then I was only 17 when I got in, you know.
Okay. How did they get you started in the CCs? Was there a kind of boot camp or training period that they put you through, or did you go straight in?
Well, I went straight in, and it was just like, it was Army.
Okay.
It was run, we had Army issue and everything, and it was just the same as the Army.
Okay, so you had drill, you had like formation in the morning, reveille, and calisthenics?
Right.
Okay. What time, when you were, where did you enroll in the CCC?
What, I beg pardon?
Where did you enroll? Where did they enroll you from? What city, what town? Did you go to the camp itself, straight to the camp?
Camp was right here in Ocala, in Seabury.
Okay, so you traveled here?
Yeah.
And you traveled right here then. What do you remember about your first work project?
My first work project?
Yeah.
Well, they put me right in a sand pit, loading trucks, and 4 of us on a truck, you know, with a drag line. And that drag line was like this. Boy, if you drug back, somebody was hollering at you, let's get it, boys, let's get it. We would, the truck back then was a real small 4-yard, about a 4-yard body.
Uh-huh.
And in just a matter of a few minutes, we would load that truck. And it was out here in a sand pit. We'd back into it, and I was working on the right-hand side of the truck and the front part. That's where I loaded from. And if my side come up a little short, boy, they holler at me, you know, let's get it, boy, let's get it. I wore out 2 shovels and nothing flat. I wore the blade to where you could take it and bend it like that.
Wow. How many terms did you? How many months did you serve, or how many years did you serve in the CCCs?
I don't know.
From what year to what year?
It was in 37, and I went in 37, and then I come out in 38.
Okay, so it was about a year that you were in.
Yeah.
Okay. How were you in? Were you in how many people were in your group? How many men were in your with
in
you?
The camp or in
the camp, and then
I don't know. There's probably 300 in the camp, and then in my group that I worked with, there was about, well, there was 4, 8, There was about 10 of us.
Okay. Did you switch? Did you have besides working with the sand? You know, did you work any? Did you work any other projects beside that one? That
No, no, they kept me in the sand, and I like that. And in other words, and I could throw that dirt.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And they said we're gonna keep you in there, you know.
Okay. Could you? How about the people you worked with? Where do they come from?
Oh, I don't know.
You know.
I don't remember just where they came from. You know, but now I remember several of the. This has been a while back, and I can't remember.
Okay.
Uh,
Did you make any longtime friends there that you kept in touch with over the years?
Well, for quite a few years, yeah. There was a guy by the name of Maddox, a guy by the name of Proctor, that I kept in touch with, you know, and
Did you know any?
Ingram.
Did some of them go on to be, you know, famous, like writers, poets, politicians?
No.
Okay, so they just went out and they were
Right.
okay.
And I'm sure they're all dead now, imagine.
No.
I haven't heard from them in many years.
Okay. Do you know anybody that's here today? Do you know anybody that you work with today?
I haven't met anybody here.
Okay. What effect did the CCC have on you and your life?
Well,
Did it make you a better person?
I would say it probably did. Yes. You know, I knew how to work, but yet whenever you went in there, you worked. You know, it was discipline.
Okay.
That's one of the main things that happened was discipline.
Mm-hmm. And you learned teamwork?
Yeah. Right.
Okay. And is the country ready for something like the CCC today?
Well,
If we brought it back, you know, if this next Congress, the next president brought it back, do you think that this country is ready for something like the CCC again?
it would be good for the young. If the young ones get in it, it would be good for them for discipline. They need discipline now. They don't have it. And that would be the only thing that I could say that it would be good for. It might take some of them off the street that's coming wrong.
Okay. Well, do you have any questions that you would like to ask them? I think you did excellently. I'd like to write your name down and get those particulars so we have you. You're our first interview, and it was great. Thank you very much for your time.
Sir,
Okay.
it's been my pleasure.
Okay, let me get you a sheet here.
You got that all on.
That looks good, yeah.
Okay, just give us your name.
Frederick Matthew Carlson.
And how old are you?
I was 91, February 9th. That was the same day that William Henry Harrison was born, but a lot of years later.
And where do you live? Where were you from originally?
The area around Muscatine, Iowa,
Okay, and where do you live now?
in Arcadia, Florida. We have an Arcadia mailing address and a Port Charlotte telephone number. We're actually 20 miles from Arcadia and only about 10 miles out from what was the heart of Port Charlotte when we went there, about 8 miles more.
Okay. What was your situation and your families during the Great Depression and just prior to your involvement in the CCC?
My first stepfather died just 1 month before I was 13 years old, and my mother had 4 children then, and she was a widow, had no money, and the only way she could get by was to go find a job, and all she knew was housekeeping. And we went on some years later. I was we moved from the country to town, and they set me back 1/2 a year, and I turned 18 in the last year of my high school, and I had a half a year yet to go.
Okay.
And
How did you get involved?
well,
with
I'll
the
tell you,
CCC?
farmers paid $15 a month in board for the summer months, and CCC camp paid $30. 25 of it went home to be with your family, and the other 5 they let me spend it myself. And I thought, well, that'd give my mother more too to help out, and I understood her difficulties. Well, then I went back and finished high school in 1935. Still didn't know where to get a job, so I went back to CCC camp. This time we ended up in Marion, Iowa.
Okay, could you
The
name the camp numbers? You know what camp number it was?
I don't. Well, one of them was 582, I think.
Okay.
I'm
and that
not
was,
sure which one. I think it was the first one.
And what was
And
that?
that one was at Solon, Iowa, and we built what is now known as Lake McBride State Park.
Okay.
And the other one in Marion, most of the work we went out and was work on farms, getting hills straightened out to cut out any draining that might take away the soil for farmers. And we were shown one place where there was a washout, and the house could sit upside down in that, and you'd never see it.
It was when you got started, was there kind of boot camp or training camp that you had to go to initially?
I think I just went to the camp itself and did the thing.
Did you have to say an oath or anything like that?
What's that now?
Did you have to sign a contract with the government, the federal government?
Not except when I first went in, I was expected to have most of the $25 go home to help feed the family. Mm-hmm. And I accepted that. Now, in the second camp I was there, I had an experience that was interesting. I read my Bible every morning before breakfast, and the assistant leader in my barracks lived in that, his family lived in that town. He told his sister about my doing that, and she asked me to lead a young people's meeting, and she gave me the material. I prepared it, and at that meeting, she asked, when I got through, she asked, how many people in this gathering here thinks God's calling them to become a missionary? The minister held his hand up. Then, how many people here think God's calling them to go into the ministry? Not a soul held their hand up, but my heart just thumped, and I remember it now 70 years later. And I did later, that was in a Baptist church, and I later went to one of our own church meetings, and I did actually go forward and got the training and went into the ministry.
Okay. Could you remember what your first project was in your camp, your first project? Okay, let's hang on for a
At
second.
Solon, we built Lake McBride State Park,
Okay.
and that was the big thing.
Down there, Daddy?
The other place, as I say, was soil conservation kind of work.
Soil conservation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait a second. There you go. Thank you.
And yeah, what was that project like, the soil conservation work that you did?
Well, I'll tell you, as I say, the one spot they showed us a washout that was big enough that a house could sit upside down in that thing. But we went through there, and and put up dams and all to stop the water from running off the hill quite so fast. And we even set out some trees in some places to stop soil conservation,
To stop the erosion.
stop the erosion rather.
Can you describe some of the interesting places where you lived and worked while with the CCC?
Well, I'll tell you, well, we lived in a little cottages at Lake McBride, probably 50 in these barracks. We went and ate in an all-together place, and I don't know. I don't remember too much about them, but one of the things since I've been coming to this, the big disappointment I've had is that I've never seen any people from the area where I did my camping.
Okay. So, did you make some lifelong friends while you were in the CCC? Do you remember anybody still?
No, I don't.
Did you did you meet any of them that became famous later on, like actors or?
No, I'll tell you. What I did once, though, was after I got out of the camp the second time, I went home and saw my doctor, and no, wait a minute, that was later on. I was already married by then, my doctor had been in the service, and I went to him thinking after getting through with my training for ministry, I was ready to volunteer to become a chaplain in the service. And he said, a man who has children really ought to be home with the children. He turned me off then. I didn't actually go in.
Two more questions.
Service.
What effect did the experience have on you, and did it make you a better person?
Well, I think it made me appreciate the fact that Uncle Sam had that kind of a job for a boy that didn't know where to look for any work. I really think we need something like that today.
Is the country ready for something like the CCC today?
I think there are young people who need the training that we got there about preparing for life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
we'll get out there before we
Very good.
Anyway,
yeah, bring on.
these are my.
Rolling.
Okay, your name. Could you spell your name?
Faye Cunningham. It's Faycunningham.
And your age?
85.
85. And where did you live when you first went in the CCC?
Lansing,
Jake,
Michigan.
it's too loud in here. There's too many people talking.
Too many?
Let's go outside on the picnic table because it's too loud in here.
Let's go outside.
Okay.
Yeah, I could tell right away as soon as we started. Yeah. Yeah, right over here. Why don't you just sit on the other side of the picnic table there? That'll work out really well.
Yeah, I don't want the sun in my eyes. That'd be good.
Yeah. Oh, that's much better.
Get better light too.
Yeah, it's better light too, definitely.
You lose somebody.
Okay. Your name again?
Faye Cunningham.
And-
FAYCUNNINGHAM.
And how old are you?
85.
85. Where were you born?
Lansing, Michigan.
Okay.
That's where I entered.
Okay. And you entered. What was your situation in your families during the Great Depression and just prior to your involvement with the CCC?
Well, my father was an automobile worker, and nobody had money to buy automobiles, so the plants were closed about 9 months of the year. So he worked about 3 months a year, all through the Depression. Toward the end, it got better, but so it was pretty tough going.
Okay. Did they have an office there in Lansing that you went to? CCC
Yes.
office? Okay. Did they put advertisements out for you?
No, I don't remember seeing any of those. I was aware of the program, and when I got out of high school when I was 16, and I couldn't join, and I didn't have any money, couldn't get a job, couldn't go to school. So as soon as I turned 17, I enlisted.
Okay. Was it enlisted or was it enrolled? Did you enrolled? Okay. Did you have any? Okay. Did they? How did you get started? Was there a kind of boot camp or training period then?
No, we just
Went right in.
went into it. The camp was already established, and we were just replacements. And it was the dead of winter in January.
So you went in the dead of January in the winter in January. Where?
Northern Wisconsin. If it got below 20 below zero, we didn't have to go out in the woods and work.
Okay. Did you have any problems with the camp? Was there proper food and?
Food was excellent.
Okay.
I thought most everybody else did. There's always few complainers, but
And how were the accommodations? Like the accommodations there?
standard Army barracks and Army mess hall, and Army latrine, and so on. It was adequate.
How was their health care? The health care there. Did you have a doctor there?
There was not on site. We had one visit once a week, one day a week. I think the dentist came a couple times a month, something of that order.
And how did you get along with the other kids there? Other
Well, it was
people?
kind of a tough place, but I didn't have any trouble. I got along fine. I had some good friends there.
Okay. What do you remember about your first work project in the dead of winter? What did you do?
Well, the first thing I did was for about 2 weeks, I cut brush and bundled it, and we put it in gullies to heal gullies.
Okay.
But then right after that, they established a timber cruising crew, and I was one of the few guys that graduated from high school, and I had trigonometry and things like that, and good grades, and I was taking a class in forestry, so they made me the foreman of it right off the bat.
Did they have educational program there?
Yes. I took
How many hours a week did you go? Or was it required? Or
No, it wasn't required, but you might as well do it than anything else do in the evenings anyway.
Okay, what was your standard work day like?
Well,
What time did you get up?
Well,
And
we got up at 6, or no, actually, about 6, about 6:30 we'd stand reveille and then go to breakfast. And then we'd go out to work in the field around 8 or a little before maybe.
okay, who was your supervisor? Work supervisor.
I worked for a forester. I
Okay.
reported to him, and then there was 3 others of us, or 4 in our crew. And we went out and took plots around through the forest and measured the size, growth rate, and species of the trees, and tallied them all up, then made timber type maps, and we had to survey the stuff as we went. So I taught surveying actually.
Was the forest pretty well grown back from logging? Was it logged out once before you got there?
Yeah, but it was all second growth pretty much. But there were some first growth. Yeah.
So there was some virgin left.
Yes.
Of course. Did you Did you go to any other? What was the? Could you describe some of the interesting places where you lived while you were there, or was it just that one camp
I
that
stayed
you were
in
in?
that one camp all the time that I was there, except I went up to a camp in Ellsworth, Wisconsin, for a course in soil conservation for a week one time, and then I was on a softball team, and I traveled around to some other camps to play softball games.
All right, so you had some nice recreation
Yeah,
time.
that was on Saturdays usually.
Okay, did this help you in your future in your like getting a career going? Did you go into forestry or did you
Well,
use
I
the
started-
education?
Yeah, I went, when I got out, you could get out early. I signed up for 6 months. I stayed 6 months and I signed up for another 6 with a provision I could get out if I was either going back to school or to work. I had a job. And I was going back to start Michigan State, and I started in forestry. And I went 2 terms in forestry, and I decided there wasn't much future, and I switched to engineering. So I paid for my first year of college tuition with the money I saved in the CCC.
Good, good.
But because of that, by the time I got in, my parents were, my mother got a job at the civil service in Michigan, and they were starting to buy cars again, so Dad was working more. And so they didn't need the money, and they banked the $22 that went home for me, and I went to use that for tuition.
That was great.
Which was $40 a term at Michigan State in those days.
So it made you a better person. You were richer when you got out. You were poor when you went in.
Yeah, well, it got me started in college, and then I got 2 years of engineering in. I went in the Army for 4 years in World War II, and the Army, after basic training, sent me to the University of Maryland for 4 terms of more mechanical engineering, so I graduated. When I left the University of Maryland, I was assigned to the Manhattan Project. I worked on building the A-bomb for the next 3 years. And then they sent me up to MIT. I was working in civilian clothes for a while there, for a year.
Wow.
And then I went back to Oak Ridge for a little while in '46, and then I went out to Bikini and helped test the bombs out there. I was a radiation monitor.
I have a friend that I would like you to get in touch with. He's a good Lincoln Giraffe, and he's with the Atomic Soldiers. You know, that went through all that. So I should
Special Engineering Detachment, Corps of Engineers.
I'll get him your
I
name.
was in
You can
that.
correspond. This is great.
So it got me started.
So it started you. Okay.
Advanced engineering training, you know.
And this country, okay, the question I have, another question is, did you know anybody in your camp that went on beside yourself? You have a successful career. Did you know anybody else? Did you know anybody else back then that you keep in touch with? Or?
No, I didn't keep in touch with any of the guys from the CCC. I did for guys I knew in the Army. I'm still in touch with a lot of them.
Okay.
But I didn't. I probably should have. I ran into one of them one time up in one of the guys. He was a sergeant in a camp up in. My brother was going to ship it out for Italy, and
Yeah.
I went up to visit him on a weekend, and I went in to find where he was, which barracks, and the guy, the sergeant in the CQ, charge of quarters. We recognized each other instantly. He'd been in that.
So he was one of the cadre that was
Yeah,
training.
Right.
Okay. Great.
So
Is this okay? Is this country ready for something like the CC again? Would reactivation be good? And what changes would you bring to it?
Reactivation would be good, but I'm not real sure that things aren't as desperate as they were back in the Depression. I'm not sure that
Do you think it would
youth
help?
today, well, it'd help, well, for sure, but I'm not real sure they're going to stand in line to volunteer.
If you
I may be wrong.
if
but
you give them a good wage, you know,
Well, yeah.
and you gave them
you need more than $30 a month.
so you're saying that you would like it coming back.
I think it's a great. It was a great thing then. I think it'd be a great thing now for a lot of the disadvantaged youth and so on. But whether or not it would be accepted, I don't know.
Okay.
And then there's drugs to think about.
And that's what they're getting. Yeah, there's drugs and everything that they get. If they're in a camp
Didn't
where
have any
it's,
problem
they would
with
have
that. We had no problems with that.
no problems with drugs or alcohol or anything like that.
Well, they had
Okay.
to watch out. When became an officer fairly soon, I had to go and be in charge of a truckload of guys going in to town on Saturday nights, and we'd have to make the rounds of some of the bars and drag them out.
You were the MP then.
Well, they had to get back to camp or couldn't hardly leave them there. Did once in a while. You
Now in the
couldn't find 'em.
CCCs, I guess a lot of you guys were over 21. So
No.
I guess the
No,
age. What was the age?
There
What was-
were some, but not many.
So you were
Most
mostly
of us
young
were
guys.
17, 18.
Did you have any veterans or LEMs with you? You know,
No,
nobody was LEM.
no.
So the Forester took care of.
Forest took. Well, there were foremen in charge of. They ran a quarry, our camp, and there was somebody who was a man was in charge of that. But
Did you? Is the park still there up there in Wisconsin? The
no,
forest.
where the camp was.
Yeah, the
No.
camp is gone, but is the forest still there?
Oh, yeah. I
Is it a
went up there to
state
see
or
it.
is it
Yeah,
a-
the trees we planted are 60 or 70 years old now, so
Okay.
they're looking pretty good.
Okay. So they're like.
I've been back lately, but I was back about 10 years ago.
So they look good.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So
My wife's waving at me here before I wrap this up.
hey, thank you very much for your time and thank you for signing the petition.
Okay,
And we'll be in touch.
good luck.
So, did so you worked? Wow. So you were. Who did you work for afterward? I mean, are you a university? Did you work at a university, teach or anything?
No, I went back to school after the war and got another degree in chem engineering. And then I went to the Upjohn Company, and I worked there 40 years. Ended up director of production.
Wow. Oh, it's been a pleasure. Next, come on over. This turned out great. We'll be in touch. Thank you. This is the best place right here.
Yeah.
This is really nice. Okay, great. What's your name?
Robert Crane,
Okay, what's your age?
88.
And where were you, okay, before you went into CCC, what was your situation, your families during the Great Depression?
Bad, poor. My dad, before the Depression was master mechanic of stone mill.
Okay.
And when the Depression hit, they just locked the doors. Out of a job. So he was out on the street. And everything, we lived in Bloomington, Indiana, and everything was dead. Only people had jobs was people worked for the Postal Service and school teachers. And the railroad people worked at the roundhouse there for the Monon Railroad. And that's 3 classes of people, but the only people who had a job.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad, we lived out on a 20-acre farm. And, of course, it wasn't too tillable, but my dad, during the Depression, started out working the dairy farm, Jersey Dairy. And us kids, 6 of us boys and my sister, and we used to go and help work at the dairy, and what we got was we'd get milk and wheat, corn, and for the meat I didn't think a hog had anything but head and a tail and the feet, because that's what we got of the hog.
Wow.
And
So how did you get, okay, you were in Indiana.
right,
Did you stay in Indiana, in the state of Indiana with your CCC group?
yes sir.
Okay. What was the company and where were you at?
We were at, started out at Morgan Monroe State Forest in Martinsville, the company 515. And it disbanded,
What year was that? In month?
let's see, seemed to me like, I saw it in there, in the museum over there, seemed to me like it was in like March of 39,
Okay.
and we went to Jasper Pulaski State Park, or Jasper Pulaski Game Preserve in Madairyville, Indiana.
Okay.
And up there with a raised quail, pheasant, grouse, birds like that, turn them loose throughout the state.
Okay, so it was like a game farm that you grew.
Game
Okay.
preserve, yes,
Preserve.
sir.
And then when you were there, did you have any, how did you get started? Did you just go right into you just sign like the other man was, just go right to the camp, and when you got signed up?
Time I went in, they would, I had a brother that went in when it first started.
Uh-huh.
They wouldn't allow but one in a family in the
Oh,
camp.
okay.
So come last part of 37, well, they just couldn't get all the recruits they want, so they let 2 out of the family. So I went in January of 38
Mm-hmm.
and stayed until June 30th of 39. I spent a year and a half there, signed up for 6 months,
Okay.
tour at a time.
So you went 3 tours.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. What do you remember about your first work project?
Well, it's easy work, decided what we'd been doing. We planted trees when I first went in. Got $30 a month, $5 we kept, and $25 went to the family. Well, they had 2 other pay grades besides that. Had like section leader and assistant section leader. Assistant got $36 and section leader got $45. I had a good friend that was a company clerk, and the guy that was supply sergeant was checking out, so I got that supply sergeant job was $45.
Wow.
Boy, $40 a month.
So you jumped up, and within 6
$20
months.
a month, man, was like just like Uncle died in the poorhouse.
Can you tell us about some of your more memorable projects when you were like supply? When you were in the supply, what did you do then? I guess you were the most liked person there.
Well, yeah, in a way. See, every Monday morning they'd change sheets. They'd turn the sheets in and pillowcases. So I had to get them ready for the laundry. And then I had to keep all the books on the clothing. When you went in, you signed up for so many clothes, and if they weren't fully used and somebody stole them or something, you had to buy your next whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to keep records on that. And our people kept hand on us was in Fort Benjamin Harrison, Indianapolis.
Okay.
That's where all of our supplies and stuff came out of, clothing and everything. So I had to keep a record of all turned in stuff. If we wore out a pair of shoes, turn them in and get a new pair. I had same way with socks. Everything they wore, I had to have a turn in for it. So I had to keep track of all that, and they picked that up. I don't know where it went to Fort Harrison somewhere, but they took it out of there.
Yeah, it sounds like it was a good system, and it's.
Oh yeah, they did. Everything was according to the book.
The people you work with, did you make some lifelong friends?
Oh God, yeah, we had. See, everybody back then was in the same class. Everybody was poor. Nobody had any more than anybody else. So everybody got along.
Okay. Did some of them go on to become famous? Did you know any of them that became famous?
Oh well, I don't know whether it's famous or not. They all had good jobs, made livings. A lot of them went to college.
Good, good.
And we had our commanding officer. Whenever I was at Martinsville, he was a first lieutenant field artillery. And when he left CC's, he took a job with General Motors
Okay.
as personnel director.
And then, were there any conflicts with guys? What did they do to resolve conflicts between guys there?
Well, we had a boxing ring,
Okay.
and we used it. We
Okay.
had one commanding officer there that was a light heavyweight champ from Ohio. Let's see, what was his name? Lippincott.
Lippincott.
Louis D. Lippincott.
So
I
he
never
would
will
train.
forget him.
He would train. He would have sparring partners
Well,
then.
He was a good boxer. He was champion. And we had guys, some of our bigger guys, he was always wanting to spar with them. One of my friends that I used to spar with, he was a lot bigger than
One more question.
a lot bigger than me, but he sparred flipping cotton. Well, he said, well, we'll just, you know, get in there and feel each other out.
Okay, the final question is, it made you a better person for it. You're
yeah.
okay. You had a
Recommend
great
it.
life.
Everybody needs either that or a little military.
Okay, is the country ready for something? And would you say that it would be a good thing to bring back, the CCC to bring back for the kids today and the
They're
veterans?
mandatory to be military. It's where it gets some discipline.
Okay.
See, there we were disciplined as well as. See, we had military people over, so you were disciplined just like military.
Okay. So you
Well,
learned the
I think
concept
that's
of
what we need.
teamwork.
Kids need to be disciplined.
Okay.
See, they had a youth camp there in Indiana that went like to Camp Atterbury.
Okay, go ahead. Go
Went
ahead.
to Camp Atterbury, and they tried that, and it didn't work.
Okay.
Tried that like a CCC camp, but it didn't work. They couldn't keep enough there. Kept running off, doing everything to stay at the camp, so they disbanded.
Okay, but you think it would be a good thing to bring back?
Oh, wonderful. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Needs something, I'll tell you.
Okay. We'll be. Thank you very much. All right.
I put on this the last tram, so
We're in.
you can do your interview, your last interview.
Yeah, isn't it interesting? It's like tile.
Yeah, I put in 40 years right here. Started in 1980.
I hope you don't have a flat tire. Take care of it.
Bye-bye. Anybody else have your card?
Watch out for those men.
Happy days.
Sunshine.
And your age, and where you live now.
I'm 90 years old. My name is Albert Gazzotti.
Okay.
What else you want to know?
And where do you live?
Where do I live?
Half the year in Naples
At the year in Naples.
and half the year in New Jersey.
Snowbird, Snowbird. Okay. What was your situation during the Great Depression and your family situation just prior to your involvement in the CCC before you joined?
Before I went into the CC.
Yeah. What was the situation?
We were a happy family.
How many people were in your family?
I was the youngest in the family.
Mhm.
I had one sister, and I had let's see, 2, 3, 4 brothers.
Mhm.
And there was my mother and my father.
How did you get involved in the CCC then? What year did you get involved?
What year?
What year?
I was 16 years old when I went into the CC. You had to be 17, but I lied about my age.
You lied about your age.
Yeah, 17.
So you had to be 17, but you got in. What year did you get in? And what years did you serve?
Oh, gee whiz.
34,
I
35.
thought
34 and
I
35?
was 16 years old. I was born in 1917. So how old would that make me?
Pop, you went in when you were 17. You were supposed to be 18. The papers, we got the papers.
Oh yeah,
And you went in 34.
she knows better than I do.
No, just only that you had
That's
to
my
We'll
daughter.
we'll get the papers. We'll get the
daughter.
papers.
You
34
got-
and 35.
Okay, how did you get
17.
how did they get you started? Was there a kind of boot camp or training period?
What was that?
Was there a training period or boot camp when you started?
No, actually no.
You went right into
Well,
the
no, you're right. We went to Camp Dix first. We were in Camp Dix about 2 weeks, and then they sent us down to Florida, Sebring, Florida.
Okay. Was there a large group of you from New Jersey?
Was there what?
Were you with a group from New Jersey then?
Oh yes,
Okay.
New York.
yeah,
In New York. Okay, you're from New York then.
yeah.
And then how long did you come down to Sebring?
How long you stay down there?
Yeah, how long did you come down here? How many months? How many years?
I
did you-
think it must have been about 5 months.
Mhm.
Because
I was at Camp Dix for about 2 weeks. You know,
October through March. That's about how.
Could you tell us about what you did on your work here? What was your work here at Sebring?
We worked in the forest like here, out here. We used to, well, we did a lot of raking, and we tried to trim around trees, you know. That's about it.
Okay.
Planted trees too, Bob.
Huh?
You planted trees.
You Did you do
Yeah,
anything?
we used to do a little planting, not a hell of a lot of it.
Okay.
No.
Okay, can you describe some of the interesting places while you were down? Did you visit here while you were in Florida back then? Or you just here in the camp?
When I was in Florida, I was in Sebring, and I made one trip to Miami because I had not a brother, it was a friend that we went into the CCCs together, you know. But I happened to go to one company, and he went to another company, and he went to Miami, and I went to Sebring.
And how about the people you work with? Did you make some lifelong friends while you were here in Sebring?
No, not really.
Okay. Did you know anybody that became famous, or like a politician or a writer, or anybody whose name we would know today?
Not really.
Okay. Did you have what kind of problems did you have with people inside and outside the CCC? What kind of problems did you have with people? Did you have with people inside and outside the CCC? And
I don't think I had any problems with anyone.
And then were there conflicts or resentments, and how did they get over the conflicts and resentments? One guy said that they had a boxing ring.
What?
One fellow said they had a boxing ring.
I had a boxing
No, that they had boxing gloves and boxing rings.
Oh.
Okay.
Didn't you say they had a boxing ring or something?
Yeah, that was in the organization we were in the Bracelet Memorial News Boys.
Oh, in New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Say, did you have any? How was the food, and how was the accommodations, and how was the health care here?
Where?
Here at Sebring.
Oh, it's all right.
Okay.
I liked it.
All right. Did you travel here by train?
Yes.
Okay, so that was the main transportation here.
Yeah.
So, what effect did the experience have on you? How did the CCC help you?
How did it help me? Well, I
Did
think
it make
helped
you
me grow up?
Okay.
Took me away from my parents for 6 months. I learned how to live on my own.
Okay.
Not that I gave my parents any problems, you know.
Okay.
Never got into trouble.
And then the last question we have here is: the country ready for something like the CCC again?
I think so. I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a good experience for a young man. Maybe a young lady too.
Okay, great.
Sign of the times.
Yeah, he's showing it. He knows it. So that's what it's going to open for young men and women.
Yeah.
Okay. And it'll help them make them into responsible citizens.
I think so.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. This was an excellent interview.
Good. I think it is a great idea if they reintroduce.
My daughter.
Well, do you want to? Yeah, just go up there in the camera and just be with them for a second.
For me?
Yeah. Why not?
You want to sit on my lap?
Oh, I might break it. Am I in it? Do I need to?
Yes.
Yeah. It's good.
Looked good.
You can sit on my lap.
No, I could break your legs.
Here you go.
Well, you used to hold you.
I'm heavy.
Show them the
heavier.
documents here.
Okay.
Show them the documents that we have. Could you focus on some of the documents?
Can you see what we have?
There's a picture of me in my young days.
Oh, is that?
Well, this here, yeah, this was for his 90th birthday. And that's a picture that was taken in Sebring.
Okay, here we go. This is him when he was. How old were you then?
17.
17.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
Then we have his discharge, I guess this is when he went in.
this is his discharge.
Yes. So,
And then this is
I guess it's a certificate.
the certificate. You got it?
Then he's got lots of pictures.
All right. And then he's got some photographs here. Huh?
Yes, yes, he does. Pictures of this young, handsome man.
There you go.
Good looking kid, right?
Absolutely.
There he is.
Absolutely.
That's Lake Jackson there, back there.
Well, they're telling us it was Lake
Tilt it towards the
Sebring.
camera.
I mean, I
Sebring.
have no
No,
idea.
that's Sebring.
Tilt it towards the
Lake
camera, Jay.
Sebring.
Okay.
Towards the camera.
Towards the
In.
camera, in.
Otherwise you get too much glare.
That's what
That's
I
great.
was season
I know.
Okay. And then there's like 3 of you standing there.
Yeah, from what I understand, some of the pictures were taken over when they made that trip to Miami. So
Okay.
there's some trees in there that aren't Sebring trees.
This is 1930.
This
Five,
would
right?
be 34, 35.
Okay.
Yeah, he went in 34, October 34,
How's that?
and through March of 35 was a full 6 months.
What was your? What did you? Okay, here you go. That's their camp company.
Allotment $24. Cash paid $3.30.
And you're at an orange tree, it looks like,
Yeah,
full of oranges.
Yeah, you used to go
There's
pick
the
the
dogs.
oranges, right, Pop? Used to go pick the oranges from the tree.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we used to walk from center of town to the
That
back
must be
of
their
the camp,
barracks.
and there were miles and miles of orange groves, you know.
The captain's name was Stanton Higgins. Remember you were trying to think of the captain's name? It's right here. Stanton.
I don't remember.
Well, when you were having a conversation with Darryl.
1935.
Tilt towards the camera.
1935. Here he is. Did you come in and were you issued a uniform?
What's that?
Were you given a uniform like clothing, or did you?
Oh, yeah, they give you clothing.
Okay. Because right here, there's one fella in the clothing registered, and you're in a sweater. It looks like you're in a sweater. Dapper.
I'm sorry, folks. I have to bring a wheelchair down here.
No problem. We're done. We're done. You can bring it in.
He's in there. I have to bring him out.
Yes.
Yeah, we're
You're
gonna get
not
out of the way.
in the way.
We'll get out of the way.
Yeah.
Oh, here you go.
Oh,
Tilt it towards the camera. There we go. A little more.
Go down
Okay.
sir.
now will this ever be? Is this going to be like a part of a documentary of
Hopefully,
some sort, or?
I got your name and address, right?
Well, on the petition.
Yeah, let me get, I have
Yeah.
a separate sheet that I'm going to get it together with a fellow named, oh gosh, his name starts with Steve. He works for WEDU in Tampa,
Okay.
and we're going to put a proposal in, and then hopefully by March,
Great.
get this going.
Okay. To Laszlo. Laszlo, L-A-S-L-O.
Okay.
It's 239-398-3197.
3917?
Yes.
Okay, and you live in, where at?
Naples.
Naples. Okay, great. Okay, and you were here at, what was the name? What was the number here? The camp number?
It was the 262.
You saw it.
Your
camp number.
Your number, 262.
Your camp in Sebring.
Yes.
This right here.
Right here. 3435.
You know, there was a fella here, Gordon Pierce, and Robert Shaw, that were here too.
We were looking all day for
Yeah, there was
people
one.
that were in.
Yeah, they were Gordon Pierce, and they were both, and they were sitting next to each other. I'm sorry.
No, you know, in the sign-in, probably in registration, it would be great if they put down the camps they were in.
Yeah.
What a great way, because all day long we're looking for people. And
Yeah,
they
these
were-
guys.
That's a great
were in,
idea. That's a
this
great
guy was
suggestion.
In, 1939. This other guy was in 38. This was guy
Okay,
38,
but well, it
39.
would have been nice anyway, but it could have been the same year or two, and they could have been right near each other.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
This fella Frederick was in Indiana. He was in Indiana.
Could I impose on someone to take a quick picture with my camera?
Sure.
Because nobody will
He's
believe
a
I was
professional.
here. You know?
Sure, no
I
problem.
send pictures to my daughter all the time. She says, "Well, Mom, were you there?" You know. So I would,
Sure. Where's
I
the
would
shutter?
agree.
Right there. No problem. Happy to do that.
Oh, all right, this way. Yes, I was in Sebring too. Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to
Let
try.
me get it from using a 7
Okay.
lens.
Okay.
All right, that's good.
Smile.
All right. There we go.
Excellent.
Let me try one more.
True professional.
There's true.
Thank
There's
you
two.
very much.
You never know when somebody blinks their eyes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Very interesting. Nice to meet you, sir.
Okay,
I'm
and
very
thank-
interested in the history of the 30s and 40s. A very important time.
Good, absolutely. Thanks for your interest.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure.